I think still if you were to stop 100 people in the street, you might have 5 of them that have heard of crowdfunding in general, and 4 of those probably heard of Kickstarter. The one person who knows about the equity crowdfunding at this point is probably somebody who's either involved in doing it or is maybe an attorney.
In the absence of fact, people make things up. It's not for everyone, but for the people who are looking to really take their small business and go to that next level, it's access. It's access that you just can't get with the small business, even if you have a great idea.
For people like me, there's really only one choice, and that's friends and family. And it's not to say I didn't have people that were very interested in it, we just didn't have the avenue of bringing in their money versus them just basically paying for services, which always, doesn't always appeal to people, especially if they're accustomed to certain traditional ways of investment or channels of investment.
Well, the mission of the Georgia Crowdfunding Association is advocacy, education, and awareness for all of the players in the ecosystem around crowdfunding. We hope to support and help businesses, professionals, and investors. It's very important for investors too, to find more and better opportunities to create jobs and strengthen communities in the state of Georgia.
If we look at historically, when you want to invest your money, you've got a few options. You've got the stock market, you've got bonds, you've got put the money in the bank and earn interest. And then most people haven't had the opportunity to invest in small startup companies because that was really reserved for what they call accredited investors. And those are people typically with $1 million worth of net worth or more. So crowdfunding really opens up this new type of investment, investing in small privately held companies that traditionally most Americans, 95% of Americans, weren't able to invest in.
Crowdfunding already exists. We don't have to like it, but for certain it's got momentum and people are using it. So the problem is there's no regulation around it yet, so to speak, and we need to get with the policymakers, the legislators, figure out what are best practices to protect businesses, not just so they can get crowdfunding, but so they can have a good business and sustain themselves for the long term.
Crowdfunding, I think, is a great solution for startup at the beginning of their way. It's relatively easy to get, and it's a great way to actually keep your equity intact while continuing developing your idea and your concept.
Georgia is extremely far ahead of all the other states in that they've got their own crowdfunding exemption called Invest Georgia, the Invest Georgia exemption. And it is a straightforward, simple process for telling the state what you're doing, but then giving you free rein to go out and do it. Of course, you still can't commit fraud, you still can't do all the bad stuff, but it really relies upon electronic media and social networks to provide the oversight necessary to protect the investors and to protect the companies doing the investment. And Georgia is one of only 2 states in the nation that allows that right now. Kansas is the other one, and Kansas has a good law, but it's limited in the amount you can raise, far more limited than Georgia.
Granted, for every 5 people that actually raise quite a bit of money, there's 100 people that don't raise anything. But I think that the advantage goes to that entrepreneur or startup that has the best story.
I think everybody who's starting a business has a special story that they want to tell so people can relate to them, and I think crowdfunding has that extra platform for them to do that. And it reaches a lot more people than standing in a room with angel investors and they just kind of like, okay, you're done, whatever. But with crowdfunding, you are able to spread the word and spread your story and help other professional women in a better platform than in the traditional.
I think having a clear business plan was also really important, and actually it was a pretty good training ground for us because it really caused us to sit down and go over that business plan a lot, revise it a lot, and finding clarity. I think getting really clear about the mission of the plan and like what it is you're doing makes it much more appealing for people to want to fund the project.
You need a great idea, you need a really good business plan, because a lot of companies who get the cash but don't have a well thought out business plan, they will fail. And so that's one of the things that the Georgia Crowdfunding Association can help entrepreneurs do. We can help you develop that business plan. We can help you develop a strategy to, again, take your idea from just idea to execution.
We want Georgia to be that flagship state where it's being done and it's being done right so that people across the country know it can be done.